Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and let's go.
This is the story of how my life hit a wall at 80 miles per hour. Look, I'm 52 years old. I've spent 25 years at the same firm, worked my way up from a cubicle to a corner office, and I thought I knew how the world worked. I thought I had the house in the suburbs, the loyal wife, and the solid future. I was wrong. I was dead wrong. It was a Tuesday. Just a regular, humid Tuesday in Virginia. I was sitting in the main conference room at the office. We're talking the big room with a mahogany table and the view of the city. There were 12 of us in there, including our regional director, Bill. We were waiting for Todd to start the weekly sales briefing. Now, let me tell you about Todd. Todd was 32, wore slim-fit suits that cost more than my first car, and had that fake, bleached white smile you only see on guys who spend too much time at the country club. I'd mentored the kid. I'd invited him to my backyard barbecues. My wife, Lauren, always said he was charming. Yeah, charming like a rattlesnake. Todd was working from home that day, or so he said. He was supposed to lead the Zoom call and share his screen for the quarterly projections. We all sat there with our coffee, staring at the big 65-inch screen on the wall. "All right, let's get Todd on the line," Bill said, checking his watch. It was exactly 10 a.m. The screen flickered. The Zoom connection went live. But Todd did not have his slides up. He did not even have his camera off. The idiot had left his high-definition webcam running, and he clearly thought he was still in the waiting room. The room went silent. I mean, graveyard silent. On the screen, it was not a home office. It was a bedroom. My bedroom. I recognized the headboard I'd put together myself 3 summers ago. I recognized the blue duvet cover Lauren bought at Target last month. And then I recognized them. Todd was there. He was not wearing a suit, and Lauren, my Lauren, she was there too. It was not a mistake. It was not a misunderstanding. The camera was positioned perfectly on the dresser. They were right in the middle of it. The audio kicked in a second later. The speakers in the conference room were top-of-the-line Bose. Every sound, every whisper, hit us like a physical blow. I felt the blood drain out of my face. It felt like my skin was turning into ice. I did not yell. I did not throw my coffee. I just sat there. I looked at the screen, and then I looked at Bill. Bill looked like he wanted to crawl under the table and die. The other guys were staring at their laps, at their pens, at anything but me. Lauren laughed. It was that specific laugh she used when she was really happy. That's what did it. That laugh cut through me worse than a serrated knife. "Wait," someone whispered. I reached for the remote on the table. My hand did not even shake. I hit the record button on the conference system. A little red dot appeared on the screen. I wanted this. I wanted the digital receipt of my life falling apart. Then, I leaned toward the speakerphone. "Todd," I said. My voice sounded like it was coming from a mile away. It was flat, cold. "The lighting is great, buddy, truly. But Bill is waiting for those sales projections. We're all waiting. The whole department is right here." On the screen, the world stopped. Todd froze. He looked at the camera like he'd just seen a ghost. Lauren's head snapped up. The panic in her eyes was the most honest thing I'd seen from her in years. I did not wait for them to scramble for the leave meeting button. I stood up, took my laptop, and walked out of the room. I walked past the receptionist, out the glass doors, and straight to my Ford F-150 in the parking lot. I sat in the driver's seat. I did not start the engine. I just sat there for 1 hour, staring at the Ford logo on the steering wheel. I could hear my heart thumping in my ears. 1 hour. 60 minutes of my life just evaporated, while I realized that the last 20 years were a lie. Then, the hole opened up. That's what I call it. The part where the pain stops and the logic takes over. I was not sad anymore. I was focused. I pulled out my phone. I had 12 missed calls from Lauren, 5 from Todd. I ignored them. I called my brother, Pete. Pete is a shark. He's a corporate lawyer who deals with the kind of people who eat their own young. "Pete," I said when he picked up, "I need the name of the meanest divorce attorney in the state. One who treats a settlement like a scorched earth campaign." "Whoa, Jack, what happened?" "I'll send you the video link," I said. "Just get me the name." I started the truck. I did not go home. I knew Lauren would be there, crying, practicing her excuses. "It was a mistake," she'd say. "I felt lonely," she'd say. No, I was not playing that game. I drove to a Best Buy. I bought a high-end voice-activated digital recorder and a few other pieces of gear. If they wanted to play games with technology, I was going to turn into a pro. By the time I checked into a Marriott near the airport, I had a plan. I was not going to just leave her. I was not going to just punch Todd in his fake teeth. That's what a younger, dumber man would do. No, I was going to take everything. I was going to take the house, the savings, the pride, and the career. I was going to make them wish they'd never even heard the word Zoom. I opened my laptop and logged into our joint bank account. I did not move the money yet. That would look bad in court. Instead, I just looked at the charges. $300 at a boutique hotel downtown 2 weeks ago. $45 at a florist. I started a spreadsheet. I called it the inventory. Every lie, every cent spent on that snake, every late night at the office Lauren had claimed. I realized something then. Lauren had a small interior design business. I'd helped her set it up. I'd paid for the LLC, the branding, the office space. I was the silent partner, holding 51% of the shares. She'd forgotten that. She thought it was her baby. I leaned back against the headboard of the hotel bed. The anger was there, sure. It was a dull roar in the back of my mind. But there was work ahead. Cold, hard work. Anyway, that was the first day. The day the broadcast changed everything. The next morning, I did something Lauren did not expect. I went home. I pulled into the driveway of our 4-bedroom colonial at 8 in the morning. The lawn was perfect. The sprinklers were on. It looked like the American dream from the outside. Inside, it was a crime scene. Lauren was in the kitchen. She looked like she had not slept a minute. Her eyes were puffy, and she was clutching a mug of coffee like it was a life preserver. When she saw me, she started shaking. "Jack! Oh my God! Jack!" she sobbed. She moved toward me, trying to go for the hug. I stepped back. Not with anger, just space, like I was avoiding a puddle on the sidewalk. "Hey," I said. My voice was calm, freakishly calm. "Did you see the weather report? It's supposed to hit 95 today." She stopped mid-sob. She looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "Jack, did you hear me? About yesterday, the call. I do not know what to say. It was a moment of weakness. Todd, he—" "Look," I interrupted, walking over to the fridge to get some orange juice. "I'm not really in the mood for a heavy talk right now. I had a long night of thinking. I realized I have not been present enough. I've been working too hard. I think we should try to move past this. She froze. You want to move past it? Yeah, I said, taking a sip of the juice. I mean, people make mistakes, right? We've got 20 years invested here. I'm not ready to throw that away over one stupid video call. Let's try to have a normal week. In fact, why do not we go to the Cheesecake Factory tonight? Your favorite. I could see the gears turning in her head. She thought she'd caught the break of a lifetime. She thought I was a broken man, a beta who was too scared to be alone. She thought she could manipulate me. Jack, you're serious? You're not angry? I'm disappointed, I said, giving her a fake, tired smile. But I love you. Let's just try. Inside, I wanted to vomit. But I needed her to stay in the house. I needed her to keep using her phone. I needed her to feel safe. Here's the kicker. While I was forgiving her, I was also fixing her laptop. She had complained about it being slow. I told her I'd take it to the office to have the IT guys look at it. She gave it to me without a second thought. She even gave me her password. That afternoon, I did not go to the office. I went to a guy I know who does data recovery. I did not need recovery, though. I needed a mirror. He installed a mirroring software that sent every text, every email, and every photo she sent or received straight to an encrypted folder on my private cloud. I sat in a Starbucks for 4 hours, watching the data pour in. It was worse than I thought. They were not just having an affair, they were laughing at me. He's so clueless, Todd had texted her 3 days ago. He actually thanked me for the help on the Miller account. I'm literally taking his job and his wife at the same time. Lauren had replied with a laughing emoji. He's just a workhorse, Todd. He does not have your spark. Just a few more months and we'll have enough to move out west. Move out west? With my money? I found a PDF in her sent folder. It was a business plan. She was planning to dissolve her current design firm and start a new one in Scottsdale, Arizona. She'd been funneling consulting fees from our joint savings into a separate account I did not know about. Over $50,000. My heart felt like it was being squeezed by a vice, but I did not break. I just saved the PDF. I saved the texts. I saved everything. That night at dinner, she was glowing. She was being the perfect wife. She reached across the table at the restaurant and squeezed my hand. I'm so glad we're doing this, Jack, she said. I promise, I'll make it up to you. I know you will, I said. I looked past her and saw Todd. He was at the bar of the restaurant. He did not see us at first. Then he did. He turned pale, looking at me holding Lauren's hand. He looked confused, terrified. I gave him a short, sharp nod, like a general acknowledging a private. Then I went back to my steak. The next day, I went into the office. The atmosphere was thick. People were whispering. When I walked past the break room, the talking stopped. I did not care. I went straight to Bill's office. Bill was the regional director, and he was also a guy I'd known for 15 years. Jack, he said, standing up, look, about the call. The HR department is already drafting the termination papers for Todd. It's a violation of the code of conduct, obviously. Wait, I said, sitting down. Do not fire him yet. Bill blinked. What? Jack, the guy was... You saw it. We all saw it. I know, I said. But if you fire him now, he gets a severance package. He gets to walk away and find another job. I want him to stay. I want him on the South Side Project. The South Side Project was a disaster. It was a construction deal that was hemorrhaging money, full of legal red tape and angry contractors. It was where careers went to die. "You want to put him in charge of that?" Bill asked. "I want him buried in it," I said. "I want him working 80 hours a week. I want him making mistakes. And I want to be the one who oversees his progress. Give him a month. By the end of it, he won't not just be fired, he'll be unhirable." Bill looked at me. He saw something in my eyes that made him lean back. "You're a cold son of a gun, Jack." He started the broadcast, Bill. I'm just finishing it. For the next 2 weeks, I played the part. At home, I was the doting husband. I bought Lauren flowers. I talked about our future. I even suggested we look at new cars for her. I wanted her greed to keep her anchored. At work, I was Todd's shadow. I did not yell. I did not mention the Zoom call. I just gave him impossible deadlines. I accidentally CC'd him on emails to the board that made him look like he was losing his grip. I watched him sweat. I watched the dark circles under his eyes get bigger every day. Every night, I'd go to my hotel room. I was still working late most nights, and I'd review the mirrored data from Lauren's phone. She was getting impatient. "Todd, why are you so busy?" she texted him. "Jack is being so sweet. It's almost creepy. We need to hurry up with the Scottsdale move," Todd replied. "I cannot. Jack is riding my back every second. I think he's trying to sabotage me. I'm exhausted, Lauren. I cannot think straight." Good, I thought. That was the point. Then came the big one, the information crouton that changed the game. I found an email from a doctor's office in Lauren's trash folder. She'd had an appointment. She was 6 weeks pregnant. I sat on the edge of the bed in the Marriott, the glowing screen of my laptop the only light in the room. 6 weeks. The math was blurry. It could be mine. It could be his. I did not feel joy. I did not feel a miracle. I felt like I'd just been handed a nuclear weapon. I knew exactly what she was going to do. She was going to tell me it was mine. She was going to use that baby as the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. She'd think I'd never leave a pregnant wife. She'd think the house and the lifestyle were locked in forever. I picked up the phone and called a private lab. "I need a non-invasive prenatal paternity test," I said. "And I need to know if it can be done without the mother knowing." "We can do it with a blood sample, sir," the woman said. "But we need her consent for the draw." I looked at the prenatal vitamins Lauren had left on the kitchen counter that morning. "I'll get you the sample," I said. I did not need her consent. I just needed to be smart. Anyway, that was the middle of the game. The gaslight was burning bright on both ends. The third week was when I started the financial extraction. Look, in a divorce, the person with the most cash on hand usually wins the war of attrition. I knew Lauren was skimming from her design firm, so I did a little digging. Since I owned 51% of the LLC, I called for a surprise audit. I hired a forensic accountant named Miller. The guy looked like a tax auditor from a horror movie. "She's been padding her expenses," Miller told me over lunch at a greasy diner. "She's been billing the company for materials that were actually furniture for a condo in Scottsdale. And she's been paying consultants that do not exist. It's embezzlement, Jack, pure and simple." "Do not file the report yet," I said. "Just have it ready, signed and notarized." Then came the sample. Lauren had been complaining about feeling tired, probably just stress, I told her. I suggested she go to a wellness clinic a friend recommended for a vitamin B12 shot and a full blood panel. I told her I'd pay for the platinum package. The clinic was owned by a guy who owed my brother a huge favor. The blood was drawn, the sample was split, one for her vitamins, one for the lab. 3 days later, I got the email. Probability of paternity? 0%. It was not mine. It was Todd's. I sat in my truck in the parking lot of a Home Depot, and I started to laugh. I laughed until my ribs hurt. She was carrying the evidence of her betrayal inside her, and she was going to try to sell it to me as a gift. That was the night I decided to throw the party. "Lauren," I said when I got home, "I have some great news. Todd and I finally closed the Southside project. Bill is so impressed, he's thinking of giving Todd a junior partnership." Her eyes lit up. "Really? That's amazing, Jack." She was probably thinking about the bonus money she could steal. "Yeah," I said, "and I want to celebrate. Not just the project, but us. And I know your secret, honey." She turned white. "What secret?" "The baby," I said, smiling like a man who'd just won the lottery. "I found the vitamins. Why did not you tell me? This is the best news of my life." She burst into tears, but they were not tears of guilt. They were tears of victory. She thought she'd won. She thought the trap was set. "I was so scared, Jack. I did not know if you'd be happy." "Happy? I'm ecstatic. We're going to have a big dinner on Friday night. I've invited Bill, the whole sales team, your parents, and, of course, Todd. We're going to celebrate it all." Friday night arrived. The house looked like a magazine spread. Lauren had gone all out. She was wearing a green dress that cost $1,500, paid for by my credit card. Todd was there, looking smug. He thought he'd survived the storm. He thought he was getting a partnership. We were all in the dining room, 10 people. High-end catering, expensive wine. The mood was festive. I stood up at the head of the table. I tapped my glass with a spoon. "Attention, everyone," I said. "I want to make a toast." Lauren beamed at me. Todd adjusted his tie. "First," I said, "to Todd. Todd, you've worked so hard on the Southside project. It's been an education for all of us. You've shown us exactly what kind of man you are." "Thanks, Jack," Todd said, raising his glass. "And to my lovely wife, Lauren," I continued, "who is currently 6 weeks pregnant with a child." The room erupted in cheers. Her parents were hugging each other. Bill was clapping. "But," I said, and my voice dropped an octave. The room went quiet. "There's one more thing. I have a gift for both of you. A little trip down memory lane." I picked up a remote and pointed it at the big screen TV in the living room, which was visible from the dining table. I hit play. It was not a slideshow of baby photos. It was the Zoom call. The full, unedited, high-definition recording of Todd and Lauren in my bedroom. But I'd edited it. I'd added subtitles. Every time Todd said something about taking my job, a little text box popped up with the corresponding email or text message I'd scraped from her phone. The silence was absolute. You could hear the hum of the refrigerator. Lauren's mother let out a strangled gasp. Bill stood up, his face turning a dark purple. Todd tried to stand up. "Jack, what the hell is this?" "Sit down, Todd," I said. I was not shouting. I was conversational. "I'm not finished." I flipped to the next slide. It was the paternity test results. Big, bold letters. 0%. "And here's the forensic audit from Lauren's firm," I said, pointing to the screen, showing $52,000 in embezzled funds, which, as the 51% owner of the LLC, I've already reported to the authorities as of 4 p.m. this afternoon. Lauren was shaking so hard she knocked over her wine glass. Red wine spread across the white tablecloth like blood. "Jack, please," she whispered. "The locks have already been changed at the Scottsdale condo you bought with my money," I said. "The process server is waiting outside the front door with the divorce papers and a restraining order. And Bill?" Bill looked at Todd. "Todd, you're fired. Effective immediately. For cause. I've already sent the video to the Ethics Committee of the National Association. You'll never sell a lick of real estate in this country again." I stood there for a second, just taking it in. The destruction was total. I walked over to Lauren. I took the $1,500 necklace off her neck. I'd bought it for her 2 days ago. "This was part of the platinum package," I said. "I'll be taking it back." I walked out of my own house. I had a bag packed in the truck. I did not look back. Anyway, that was 6 months ago. The divorce was a slaughter. She got nothing. The Scottsdale money was seized to pay back the embezzlement. Todd is currently working at a car wash in a different county, trying to pay off the legal fees from the lawsuit I hit him with for tortious interference. Me? I sold the big house. I bought a small place on the coast. I spend my weekends fishing and my weekdays working for a new firm where nobody knows what a Zoom call is. I learned something through all this. You can't not fix a betrayal. You can't not move past a knife in the back. But you can damn sure make sure the person who swung it never gets to hold a knife again. And that's the truth of it. Listen, life is too short to be the guy who just sits there and takes it. Sometimes you have to be the one who controls the broadcast. The truth is, some people live their lives on broadcast. They put on a show for everyone. I just made sure that for one night, everyone saw what was happening when the cameras were supposed to be off. I did not start the broadcast, but you can be damn sure I was the one who ended it. The hero's journey, from a victim of public betrayal to a master of his own destiny, is a masterclass in emotional discipline. His primary mistake was not trusting his partner. It was ignoring the subtle shifts in the power dynamic of his own household until they were broadcast to the world. However, by refusing to react with blind rage, he secured his financial and legal future. Here are 3 key takeaways. 1. Control the narrative. Never reveal your hand until the trap is fully set. Silence is your greatest legal asset. 2. Audit your assets. Ensure your names are on the deeds and LLCs that your income supports. 3. Evidence is king. In the digital age, a documented truth is worth more than 1,000 emotional pleas. What would you have done if your life was broadcast to your entire office? Write in the comments how you would have handled this betrayal. And subscribe for more honest, deep dive case studies.